something that really worked for me on the start line when I had my best performances was like promises to myself. Like, I said I was going to get up at this time to go training. I got up at this time to go training. I said this was the session I was going to do. That was the session I done. I said I wasn't going to eat that food. I didn't eat that food. I said I'd be in the gym at that time. I was in the gym at that time. And then when it comes time to perform and you have that naggy little bitch whiny voice in the back of your head saying you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, these other lads are more talented than you. That voice is very quiet when you've kept all them promises to yourself. Keeping those promises quietens that naggy bitch voice in the back of your head.
That's good.
That's what I think it is to be an athlete.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's level dependent. You could be, run the park 5K at 20 minutes.
I had a moment like that in Raheny. I was running and I went through a moment where I was like, I'm done here. And then it's been a little owl. Do you know what I mean? I was feeling like I was like I don't have anything else to give to this race. And then just got through that tough spot and boom, I kicked on and it was grand. And I was like, fucking hell, man, why did I go through that little moment there where I was about to just completely bottle it?
They're the only moments that matter as well. Because Sarah's getting into cycling this year. She's training for Badlands at the end of the year. So it's 780k gravel race, so split over 2 or 3 days. But she's never really, she loved sport her whole life and always been fit in gym, but she's never really dedicated herself and trained 15 plus hours a week for that. And a lot of time I'll give her a session like it's 4 by 4 minutes full gas, and she'll be 2 minutes into the full gas effort. She's like, it's too hard. It's like, the only reason you came out the door today, the only reason you got kitted, the only reason you took time away from loved ones is for this moment right here. And now you're going to bottle the very reason you came out the door was to create this pain, to overcome this friction. You have no choice but to push through it.
Yeah.
But so many people don't. They think it's the pain, the friction is a sign to stop, to slow down, when it's actually a sign that everything's grand.
Yeah.
You're just doing what you're trying to do.
You're doing what you're trying to do, and it's getting used to training through the lactate. Phelan had a great one the other day that Adam caught on camera, and he was giving advice to one of the runners, and he was like, you need to learn to live in that lactate. And sometimes when the lactate, when it comes on top,
you need to get on a t-shirt, live in the lactate.
I mean? That's what he said. He said throw a bit of lacquer at it. It was a cracker. But like that, when the lactate comes on top, sometimes you can kind of you get hesitant and you kind of you don't dive in. Whereas the best athletes are getting the most out of themselves. You can see the pain in their face. They're absolutely they're living in it, and you need to get used to that. And that needs to be trained as well. It's not a thing that you wouldn't want to be doing just every now and again. You need to get accustomed for it.
When you're in those moments and you're on at that 90%, 95%, it's you're pacing the effort. It's never quite 100% if it's a 5k or if it's a pursuit on the bike. You always have it. It's a controlled full gas. Do you mentally segment the effort? Do you try and spell your name backwards? Do you count lampposts? Do you have a distraction technique for getting out of the moment, or do you focus on staying in the moment?
I kind of feel like the moment where you decide to go, that's a kind of thing you need to just kind of make the move. Like that one I said in Raheny, the most recent one, it was 6 to 7k was it was uphill, but it was a moment of I don't have anything else to give here, but I did. And then once I said fuck this, I'm going, it was grand. You're you're in pain, but it's not. I think the anticipation is worse than what it actually feels like in it.
I talked to a lad on the podcast, William Lee, I think was his name, and they're doing a lot of cognitive research on, say you're on the watt bike and I don't know, your thresholds is, I used to do a session actually called Hour of Power last year. I call it Happy Hour, where you literally get on the watt bike, you warm up for 5 minutes and then it's an hour full gas and then you warm down for 5 minutes. Brutal. So I might sit at 350, 360 if I was going well for the full hour, but it's pretty it's controlled misery, but it's almost like putting a lobster in a pot or something and just turning up the heat. First 5 minutes it's pretty cruisy. First 20 minutes is pretty cruisy. 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, it starts getting real bad. So this lad, William Lee, is working on cognitive distraction therapy. Cognitive distraction therapy, where on your handlebars, a set of lights come on, and as a light comes on, you have to move your hands around and knock out the light. And they're showing statistics that it can actually improve your threshold by turning off these lights. Obviously, it's not very safe if you're out on the road. You need to be indoors doing this. But it's interesting, the application of that. Should we stay in the moment, or are we better off like old school when I started on the turbo trainer road now at my dad's shed. Like there was no Zwift. I'd just be reading the back of paint cans when I was going full gas, trying to distract myself, going, I'll get to the end of this Dulux can and then the effort is over. But I don't think there is something in that as well.
When you're in the moment and you're enjoying it, it's great. You know what I mean? But you ever feel like, so like let's say, right, if you're in with a training group, right, and you're under pressure, let's say, but then you overcome it and then you get through and you're like, right, I know me level and this. Whereas when you go and you're training with the lads that I'm training with now, it's like, even when you're getting stuck in, you kind of feel like they have more to give here. Do you know what I mean? I don't have much more here, but these could step this up another gear.
Do you think there's a little bit of imposter syndrome in that?
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
And what's the antidote to that?
I don't know.
More training.
Do you know what I mean? Because like even like that, like all of the lads like to me, you're going well, and I'm like, am I? Do you know what I mean? I don't know how to gauge it, because like I'm running with like serious geezers.
But like peer comparison is dangerous though.
Yeah.
Like you see new people coming into cycling and you know they're always want to know like, oh, you know, how are my watts per kilo has been a dangerous one because it's allowed people to compare themselves to better riders. Yeah. But watts per kilo only paints a tiny picture of what bike racing is. It's understanding how to corner, it's understanding how to dress, it's understanding how to be in the bunch, efficiency. Like you got a taste of it when you stepped into bike racing a couple of years ago. Your watts per kilogram were savage, and then you came out to do a wet criterium, doing a bike race, and you're like, this is something different. This isn't Zwift like.
No, going around on me out. Like, it was going around on me on for an hour. You know what I mean? And like that, I was doing good numbers on the bike.
Very good numbers.
Yeah. And was dicing, and the bike handling skills were coming on. And then when I went into a bike race, it was like, bike racing's a weird one. Because training doesn't simulate what you're going to go through on the day.
Like you were doing, if I remember, you were doing close enough to 5.5 watts a kilo. Yeah. And that was, you remember the big day we done out in Wicklow and we finished up Capure up the top. Yeah. I think you were doing 20 minutes of 5.5 watts a kilo up at the end of a long spin.
After 100k in.
Yeah. That's good numbers.
Yeah.
Good numbers.
Yeah. Then they still, yeah.
And then getting into the bike race. Specifically, Cork Park was interesting. That's a small little criterium. It was in the rain and it's like 8 or 9 corners in it. So it's super technical.
Super technical. And
that just exposes everything from bike handling to traction control to...
I lost a bike length every corner. Yeah. I was just then the people that were in the group with me, anybody that wasn't in the race anymore was stepping off, and I was like, I just kept going, and everybody was looking at me like, what's he doing?
I remember just coming around to lap you, like, I don't know, for the second time or something.
It was a bad buzz.
Going, he's having a bad day.
I didn't know what to make of it. And like I done like probably like best power. Do you know what I mean? Best hour power like that day on my own. But I didn't know what to make of it. I was like, what was I even in a race?
It's the difference in watts and speed. And this is what I think a lot of people coming into sport aren't quite understand, that watts don't win races, speed wins races. Yeah. Like you can sprint into a corner at 1200 watts. If you're hard on the brakes and come out with a corner at 200 watts, the 1200 going in is useless to you. You'd be better off 600 into the corner and 550 out of the corner. It's a much higher average speed through the corner.
And then Mondello.
Oh, Mondello was some laugh.
Mondello as well. Like you were like, Anto, just go and see if you can stay away from us. It'll be monumental if you do it. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I'll do this. Went.
So for anyone that doesn't know what Mondello is, because there's a good few people that aren't Irish listening. So it's a criterium and around a motor racing circuit, and it's staggered. So the A4s get a minute head start on the A3s, who get a minute head start on the A2s, who get a minute head start on the A1s. The goal being, if you get the handicap perfect, it all comes together for just a bunch sprint at the last minute. You at 5.5 watts a kilo never should have been assigned into A4, but you're just coming into the sport. Yeah. So the tactic was go full gas and see if you can hang on, because a 4 minute handicap is a lot to close on someone with that watts per kilogram. And myself and a lad who was full time at the time riding for my old French team, actually, Aaron Wade, had got out of the A1 group, and we got clear of the 3s and the 2s and got across to you. And I remember saying to you, because you were kind of panicking, I remember saying, don't do a single turn. Just let me and Aaron ride. And I can't remember what happened, but he bullied you into doing the turn. And as soon as he bullied you into doing the turn, I was like, he's not going to recover from that. And then he punched it through at about 600 watts. I
was at the being like me and Wes is me.
Yeah, Brazilian, on the bazooka, Brazilian.
He was sitting around like hanging on, and then I was like, do a turn, and he was just looking at me and like, you're so good. I was like, what the fuck? And then it came absolutely nowhere.
You got hoovered up by the bunch, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes reps.
It does take reps. I like that. I only done one. I would have definitely enjoyed doing a few more of them.
Transform your indoor cycling with Ruvy, the platform that brings real-world routes and augmented reality to your training. Whether you're preparing for a big event or you're just looking to explore, Ruvy lets you experience legendary rides like Alpe and Passo de Stelvio from the comfort of your home. Ruvy's unique augmented reality technology uses real-life video and GPS data to create the most realistic cycling experience available. You'll feel every climb, descent and turn with precise terrain replication, giving you an authentic outdoor ride indoors. Plus, with AR elements like avatars and banners, the ride really feels totally immersive and interactive. With over 1,500 routes and 25,000 kilometers, the world's most iconic cycling destinations, Ruvy is perfect for cyclists of all levels. Whether you want to enjoy scenic routes, participate in group rides, or push your limits with advanced training plans, Ruvy has you covered. Ruvy also offers flexible pricing, allowing you to pause your subscription or choose duo or group plans to share the experience. From exploring new places to serious training, Ruvy has something for every cyclist. Ready to ride the world? Visit Ruvy.com and start your journey today.